Welcome to Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willies, your host at KPFT 90.1 FM Houston. Thank you so kindly for being here in the morning. And I wake you up in the morning. Did I? Did I? How are you enjoying your drive to work? How are you enjoying your morning coffee in the kitchen? How are you enjoying your morning coffee in the bed? Maybe just listening to the radio and chilling. Welcome to Politics Done Right, my friends. We have a whole lot to talk about. But before I get into the business of talking, and remember, in as much as KPFT is in fun drive mode, please rest assured that you have yourself a full program going because we have a lot to talk about. We have a hell of a lot to talk about. So stay with me. Don't move that dial. Get on to whatever form in which you listen to us. If you prefer listening to us on our site, go to KPF. Let's back up. If you listen to us on our Facebook page, can go to facebook.com/KPFT Houston. You can also get us with the app by going and downloading TuneIn from either your app store, the Apple App Store, or the Play Store for Google. For your Android, download the TuneIn app. And go ahead and find KPFT, and you can listen to us online. Thirdly, if you want to listen to us on YouTube, go to politicsdoneright.tv. Again, that is politicsdoneright.tv. And if you want to go to our website, go to kpft.org and hit that button to listen to us live. Folks, there are myriads of ways in which you can be a part of the family, in which you can be listening to the program every morning. Again, we are in fun drive mode, so I need to just give some pre-information about how to make sure that this station stays on air. And when I'm done with that, we have some very, very important items to discuss, because what's going on in the Senate in Texas Legislature, in the House in the Texas Legislature, will affect us all. And I want to dedicate most of the program to that. I'd like to take your calls as well, with your concerns, with your critiques, with whatever you want to tell me at 713-526-5738. Again, that number is 713-526-5738. We do want to hear from you. Please don't wait till the end of the show to call. To speak with me directly and be on air, you hit option 2. But remember, to speak, to give us a contribution by phone, you hit option number 1. We do want to hear from you on both occasions. Both if you have the wherewithal to give, and if you want to speak and be on air. We cannot do this without you. We cannot have this program without you. I want to thank Mr. Van Bieber in the studio. Jack, thank you so kindly for getting up in the mornings and driving out to KPFT and being a part of that great team in there. And of course, the one and only Howard Reynolds really keep things running here. Again, most of us here are volunteers. How are you doing, Howard?
Thank you so much, Egberto. It means a great deal to me that the tin cans and string work every morning.
And you know what? We are forever indebted to the man for keeping those tin pans and all those things running together. Anyway, we have a great show for you. As I'm speaking, I'm queuing things up. So that's why you hear me sometimes a little bit fumbling, because again, we all do everything at the same time. We are queued, folks. We are queued. Okay, look, let me start this way. The title of the show today is Texas State Legislature, a lesson in how to kill and indoctrinate the masses. The Texas Legislature is a danger to democracy as Republicans continue to test the limits of authoritarianism. Where are our Democratic leaders in the Senate and House chambers? Hey guys, where are you? Where are you? But beforehand, note And this is the letter I sent out last night, the newsletter I sent out last night. I do 10 Politics Done Right shows a week, 5 streaming only and 5 live on air via KPFT 90.1 FM Houston. This endeavor is completely funded by you voluntarily. That is why I make sure to maintain consistency, dependability, and accuracy with my videos, podcasts, blogs, articles, newsletters, and books. Since going back live after the pandemic, I have used this newsletter to inform about the topics I will try to cover on Politics Done Right at KPFT. Of course, you and our callers take precedence. So if I do not get to the topic, at least you can come back to the newsletter. You can find a newsletter at politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. KPFT 90.1 FM Houston is the only real community radio station in the Houston metropolitan area and Southeast Texas. Our reach is wide and far with our 100,000 watt transmitter. It is currently maintained by one paid staff member and volunteers. From the manager to the host, including yours truly, we're all volunteers. We do this because it is a place where we can be true to ourselves politically, artistically, and more. We are a place where everyone can have their voice, their expressions, collectivity, individuality. For the next 3 weeks, we will be fundraising to fund the station for the next quarter. To be sure, I will have a substantive and informative program even during the fund drive. So stick around. Don't think you're just going to hear pleading for cash. We need it, but we want to have a program. We want to make sure that we do our part. My program, Politics Done Right, must raise a minimum of $250 per day to cover an informative program that has been given 1 hour, 5 days a week. How can you support Politics Done Right on KPFT? Please go to kpft.org. As I introduce what we're doing, please go there now, kpft.org, and select, when you're given that contribution, select that first option and select Politics Done Right as a show you're supporting, and then give us whatever you can. Alternatively, you can call 713-526-5738. Option number 1 to donate. Option number 2 to talk on air. That is 713-526-5738. I want you to call no matter what. Choose whichever option. If you have the wherewithal, please help us raise the monies we must raise for the show, for the station, to ensure that we stay here with the information we provide. Guess what? We also have the BRICS. The BRICS. What are the BRICS? No, I'm not talking about Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. You know, that is a new group who may be standardizing our money away from the dollar. We'll talk about that some other days as well. No, BRICS. I'm talking about you can actually get a brick. And if you take a look at the screen right now, for those of you watching on YouTube, for those of you watching on our Facebook page, you'll see what the bricks look like. You get a brick inscribed with your name, and not only your name, with whatever message you want to give to KPFT. It's a method. It's a form of instilling on our walkway, that you permanently instilled on our walkway, that you help us do what we needed to do. That's if you're able to, $25 a month for a 4x8 brick, or $50 a month for an 8x8 brick. But you know, folks, you can give us anything that you have to give to do your part in supporting us. Go to kpft.org, select donate, the first option under donate, and please please make sure to select Politics Done Right as a program so that we are credited appropriately from your contributions. Okay, topic of the show again, Texas Legislature, a lesson in how to kill democracy and indoctrinate the masses. Subtitle: The Texas Legislature is in danger to democracy as Republicans continue to test the limits of authoritarianism. Where are our Democratic leaders in the Senate and House chambers? Last night, had a board meeting that I couldn't make because I had to take my daughter to an event at the church. I had to do that. But I tell you what, I dropped her off and I went to a nearby Starbucks. And then I kept on thinking, because a flash came over the screen. I'm like, oh my God, Democracy is in peril as authoritarianism and indoctrination grow. That phrase just came to mind after I saw this thing go over the screen on my thread. And I said, there are 4 stories below that I put in the newsletter. 4 stories that should shock every Texas citizen. Given that much of what is occurring in Texas is a Republican, authoritarian, fascist playbook template implemented or in implementation stage around the country, means this threat is immediately upon all of us, whether you're in Texas, no matter where you are. Welcome aboard, Alistair Water, on the internet over at the chat. A couple of programs ago, I detailed in the newsletter the Powell memo. And, we didn't completely get to the Powell memo, but I made sure everybody knows that what we are seeing around the country isn't something that just came about, or isn't something that Republicans just thought about, or that neoliberals just thought about. All of this stuff was actually planned in something called the Powell memo. And, as I was sitting down in the couch at Starbucks, I said, I know all of this planned. I have always written about the Powell memo, et cetera, et cetera. I've gone through it in detail, item by item. But, all along, this was something put out sort of by the Chamber of Commerce, these private organizations that are run by private business, et cetera. But last night, something came to mind. Wait a minute. What's going on in the Texas Legislature right now isn't the private sector. Yeah, the private sector are bribing these politicians. Yeah, we know that. But this was our government enforcing something, man. And with the formation of the Civitas Institute at my alma mater, the University of Texas, it is now sanctioned by the taxpayers via government. Egberto, what the hell are you talking about? I know. What the hell am I talking about? Let me tell you what I'm talking about, folks. And I'm going to pull up the article right now out of the Texas Tribune. It says, this was on May 4th. The University of Texas Regents approved creation of new college to house Civitas Institute at UT Austin. The Civitas Institute was conceived with the help of conservative donors and state lawmakers to lead research and education based on free market principles. Do I have anything against free market principles? No. Do I have anything about how that is taught? Absolutely so, because what I believe in and what all of us say we believe in is free enterprise, and we want a state that takes care of all of us where we need care of, and that we go out there and bust our butt to create. But we don't want it taught that, indoctrinated into something that isn't. This is what the article says. The University of Texas System and Board Regents unanimously voted Thursday to create a new college at the University of Texas at Austin to house the Civitas Institute, a center criticized by faculty as politically motivated because it was conceived with the help of conservative donors and state lawmakers. The decision by the board came before Texas lawmakers could vote on a bill by Senator Brandon Crichton, Republican of Conroe, intended to turn the Civitas Institute into a college. The board's creation of the new college makes that legislation unnecessary. The Civitas Institute will be a leader in research, education, and policy based on free market and individual liberty. What is Civitas? Civitas is going to be, I don't know what Civitas mean. Honestly, I don't know if it has some value or whatever. Do you know what the word, if there's a word actually called Civitas, Brother Howard? Do you know that?
I don't. I was just asking what is Civitas? I'm not familiar with that term.
I am not either. I just thought it was a proper name, so I didn't even look up to see what Civitas meant. I just know that that it's an institute that was being created. So maybe I should see if there's some backstory to the Civitas name itself. I will do that.
Perhaps the vast and unpaid research department at 713-526-573 at extension 2 will tell us.
Right. There you go. If you have that answer, I love that. And by the way, folks, before I finish reading this article, I'm glad that Howard kind of cued me because I get all straight in my tunnel talking about these issues and forget sometimes we are in fund drive mode and we need your assist right now. So if you have the wherewithal, call 713-526-5738, hit extension number 1 to join to make a contribution, hit extension number 2 to be on air, and we want both if at all possible. But again, we also want to hear from you. Or you can go to kpft.org, select that option that allows you to select what you want for gift, etc., etc., etc. And please remember to select Politics Done Right as the program so that we would be properly credited. Okay, continuing with the show, and thank you for raising that up for me, Howard. Anyway, let me just say this, folks. So the decision of the Civitas Institute will be a leader in research, education, and policy based on free markets and individual liberty, Christian said in a statement. I applaud Chairman Etliff and board regents for their support, which will provide the organizational structure to hire faculty and staff. So when I heard that thing that says it's going to hire the organizational structure, right? I'm like, oh my God, what are you talking about? And not only that, it actually got there by a super majority, by a 100% vote. Anyway, the motion was added to the agenda Friday and approved in the last portion of the board two-day meeting. According to the approved motion, the college will be called the School of Civic Leadership. The university will appoint, it is spelled Civitas, 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 Miss Alistair. All right. It will have the ability to hire up to 20 new faculty within the first 3 years. Faculty could be housed in the school or could be joint appointments within other areas of the university. The school would be able to hire faculty through existing university procedures and protocols. According to system rules, the board must notify the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board once it approves a new college or school, but no state approval is required. We believe that investment in this endeavor is essential for leading American universities, and we hope UT Austin will be a model for the best way to provide for scholarship and teaching that will prepare leaders and citizens, Eltief said in a statement before the board approved the move. Eltief says, or compared the new school to Princeton University's James Madison program in American Ideas and Institutions and Arizona State University's School of Civics and Economic Thought. Etliff left the meeting after it adjourned and did not make himself available for further questions. I wonder why he made himself unavailable for further questions. The indoctrination begins. Remember yesterday or 2 days ago, we spoke about the Powell memo, right? We spoke about the Powell memo yesterday, and I want to tell you, I have that Powell memo on the screen right now. And if you take a look at what it says, there's a part of the memo that actually says the apathy of and default of business, right? But the reality is it also talks about going into university campus. The campus, there's an item under the Powell memo. This was a memo written by Lewis Powell, who eventually became a Supreme Court justice, after writing this article stating that American business needed to infiltrate colleges, churches, schools, books, and everything. And if you notice, we are starting to have the book bans. If you notice, we have this Civitas Institute now. Here's what he said. The assault under the campus heading of the Powell memo. This is what Lewis Powell said over 40, 50 years ago. The assault on the enterprise system was not mounted in a few months. It was gradually evolved over the past 2 decades, barely perceptible in its origins and benefiting from a gradualism that provoked little awareness, much less any reaction. Although origin, sources, and causes are complex and interrelated and obviously difficult to identify without qualification, there's a reason to believe that the campus is the single most dynamic source. And it says in that article, in that letter that he wrote, he says, we must go in What can be done about the campus? The ultimate responsibility for the intellectual integrity on the campus must remain on the administrations and faculties of our universities, but organizations such as the Chamber can assist and activate constructive change in many ways, including the following. Staff of scholars. The Chamber should, and we're talking Chamber of Commerce now, the Chamber should consider establishing a staff of highly qualified scholars in the social sciences who do believe in the system. And that's a system that the Civitas is talking about. It would include several of national reputation whose authorship would be widely included. We must include a staff of speakers, speaker bureau, evaluation of textbooks, equal time on campus, which means we must get into campus and we must run stuff. This is not by accident. This was written, and many of these authoritarians thought it was getting away from them. So now it's not being only pushed by the Chamber of Commerce. We now have your government, our Texas Legislature, along with legislatures all over the country, starting to demand that universities and colleges indoctrinate your students, your children, those who pass through, into policies that so far have failed so many of us. They're asking you to support policies that have created income inequality, wealth disparity. Because remember, all of this is by design. That is why if you own stocks, you pay less taxes than if you make an honest wage. That's a part of what they intend to teach your kids, that is okay. It is okay that if you invent something, make a little change to somebody else's invention, you can go do something called a patent. And in patenting that baby, hold on to several decades many times and profit while others who could have made it cheaper cannot, because those who had capital in the first place to make it can do it. You can't. Price is high because we have monopolies. These are the policies that they are wanting to indoctrinate as those who are progressive thinking people start to tell you there is a better way. We won't allow the type of abuse on patent systems. And I wrote this in one of my books. We cannot allow a patent system that forces you to pay thousands of dollars for a dosage of a medicine because we've got the patent. And how did we get the patent? The government researched and developed at universities these medicines that you take, but these big drug companies give a donation for a foundation or something, take over the patent, and then sock it to you. Folks, look up all of this. I want those of you who are listening to the program, all of you listening to the program, because sometimes we start to talk, right? And sometimes the things that are coming out, the first thing somebody wants is they want to use a big C name on you or the big S name on you without listening to the food that you're putting out there or the thought process as you ask people to validate what I'm saying, please. We just want you to hear the snippets here and not just wholeheartedly say, I'm going to run back and believe what Egberto says. No, I don't want that. I want to build your trust in what we're saying here. And the easiest way to build trust is to say, please, you can go validate everything that I say. Not like what happens on the right-wing radio stations or whatever that just goes ahead and tell you, just take what I'm saying as face value and hate your fellow man as we tell you what we're saying. No. I want you to listen. I beg of you to validate. I beg of you to say, you know what? There is food for thought. I better go ahead and research what the hell he's saying. If what he is saying is true, then we better engage. I tell you what I did last night, man. I'm sitting down there at the Starbucks. And folks, please give us a call, 713-526-5738. Extension number 2 to come on air. And, you can tell me anything, agree, disagree, whatever you want. You can come on air, whatever you want, agree, disagree. But also, I beg of you to call 713-526-5738. And also, please contribute to the station. We cannot do any of this without you. So consider contributing to the station today. 713-526-5738. Extension number 1 to contribute. Extension number 2 to be on air. And you can go to kpft.org to select donate. Click on the first item and be sure to select our Politics Done Right as the show that you are supporting. 713-526-5738. Option number 1 to donate. Option number 2 to be on air. And again, I'd love to hear from you. I would love to hear your voices. So I'm sitting down in the couch at Starbucks, waiting for my daughter to do the event that she had to do. And I said, you know what? And this is what I try to impart to everybody out there that's listening to my voice. Many times you hear all these stories or you hear what I'm talking about. And the first thing that occurs, people think they throw up their hands in the air and they say, oh, God, I can't do anything about anything that's going on here. That's just how things are. To which I say, false. False. We have the ability to do something about it. Now, the first thing I did is I said, what we have in the I'll leave that for later, but we have our fingers, we have our feet, we can pressure our own politicians to do our will. And if they choose not to do our will, we still have one person, one vote. And you know who knows that they are sitting on a thin thread? You know who knows that? Our politicians. So what are they doing right now in Austin? What are they doing right now in Austin to ensure that in the future, before we get the heads up, they put laws in place that can stop this democracy? Are they doing that? Are they really doing that? Now, the article, Texas Senate passes bill to allow Secretary of State to overturn Harris County elections. Harris County is the biggest county in Texas. It's the county that delivers the largest amount of progressive votes, the largest amount of Democratic votes, the largest amount of votes who want things done in a manner that serves us all. Okay? That's what Harris County is. So here is what they're doing. The Texas Legislature is advancing a bill that would allow the Secretary of State to redo elections in Harris County, where a number of Democratic candidates posted strong midterm election results and which has been dogged by GOP claims of mismanagement. They tried it already, right? Lina Hidalgo is under suit, and several other Congress people who won in our state, different people who won their races in our county, in Harris County. They got sued. Oh, ballots were missing here, all of that. It's a test. This was the test to see what the reaction of the population in Harris County was going to be. Start suing all the people who won and claim that the election may have been stolen or just claim that. See what the reaction of the Harris County voters are going to be. And you know what I'm going to tell us in Harris County for all practical purposes? For all practical purposes, we didn't get an A, we didn't get an F, but we didn't get an A. We didn't raise enough hell to say, how dare you? How dare you claim an election in Harris County any different than an election in Timbuktu County, in Bexar County, elsewhere? So how did they write this law? The Republican-controlled Senate passed the bill Tuesday and sent it to the state house. If it is enacted, it would allow the Secretary of State to toss out elections results in the state's largest county and call a new vote if there is a good cause. And what does good cause mean? Who the hell knows what good cause mean? If there is a good cause to believe that at least 2% of polling places ran out of usable ballots during voting hours, the bill would apply only to counties with populations greater than 2.7 million, effectively singling out Harris County, which is home to Houston and has by far the largest population in the state and nearly 5 million. In recent decades, Harris County has become more Democratic. Again, I repeat, think about this. The law doesn't say any county that has problems, we are going to have a 2%. We can actually go ahead and check to see if they're voting right and overturn that election. Only if you have 2.7 million voters in that only if you have at least 200.7 million people in that county, and that county only applies in the entire state of Texas. There's only one county greater than 2.7 million people. There's one with 2.6 million. But 2.7 million, only Harris County. So here we have a law in the Texas Legislature written solely for the most Democratic county, Harris County. Okay? Where is Wendy Davis when we need her in the Senate? How could that bill leave the Senate? We send people there once every 2 years. Where are our senators filibustering in that? Yes, they don't have a majority, but they can filibuster. Where is Alvarado? Where is Whitmire? Where is Miles? Where are our three Harris County senators allowing that bill to leave the Senate? Yes, you are in the minority, but you can filibuster the bill. Where is Wendy Davis when we need Wendy Davis? Wendy Davis, she put on a bag. She stood up there. She stood up there for the cause of women. She delayed the cause of women to allow a movement to build around it, to allow folks to find out the thievery, the theft that was occurring, or in that case, the malfeasance that was occurring. In this case, the ability to steal the vote. Where are our Democratic senators? And if it were a Democratic bill, I would have said, where are our Republican senators who are there attempting to take away our democracy, our vote? I would have been saying the same thing. This is not partisan. This has to do with our democracy being stolen. Or not our democracy being stolen, but giving them the ability that if that not be done and elect those they want elect, they found an undemocratic way to take power anyway. Just call the elections. No, there are too many irregularities in the elections in the largest county in the state, Harris County, and we have the option, we have the ability to just do a redo and take over the election in our way. The Secretary of State appointed by the governor, who is a Republican, who is a person who has shown a degree of evil, noting what he had to say about the when the killer killed those folks in Cleveland. They're undocumented, like if it meant something. Friends, while we are quiet, while our state representatives, our state senators, etc., are quiet, that is how you lose your democracy. Because, after I read it and I called up a few people on the House floor, because this stuff is moving to the House floor now. I called up a few of the representatives I know personally in the state front, like, what's going on? What are you going to do? So, well, we're kind of sitting down planning, but one of them also told me, wait a minute. One of them quietly said, but I'm extremely upset that they allowed it to leave the Senate, a bill that takes away one of the representatives, I won't say the name, said that. And then after that, I started calling presidents of different clubs, these different activist clubs, and saying, like, what are we doing about this? Where are we amassing the people to understand that we don't wait for something to become law to complain about it? Because when it's the law, it's the law. If it gets through the Senate, the Texas Senate, if it gets through the Texas House, and the governor signs it, and it's the law, and then we start to complain about it because, well, we're complaining about it. It's too late. It's the law. And you can't ask a Supreme Court to overturn a legally placed law. We can go to the federal government and say, oh, they're taking away our voting rights. But you know what? It's called states. This is done by a county, and a county is not homogeneous. So on what grounds do you fight it? Something has to be done now before it becomes law. And, that's not the only thing that these people are doing in our Senate, but I wanted to spend some time specifically on this one because, like I said in the title, my friends, this is how democracy dies. It's not done one fail swoop at a time. It is done over time by a million cuts, a cut. 713-526-5738. Extension number 2 to be on air. Extension number 1 to give a donation. We don't have any donations yet. I ask you to kindly, please go ahead and call and call 713-526-5738. Extension 1 for donation. Extension 2 to be on air. And likewise, go to kpft.org. Again, go to kpft.org, select donate, hit that little, hit the first option under donate. Come on, let us know how much you're able to contribute to the program. And then just make sure to select Politics Done Right as the program. Remember, this is not for Egberto. This is for KPFT. Howard, come on in, my brother.
Thank you, Egberto. Mr. McKinney is at it again. Our dear Mr. McKinney from the Houston Hour has again opened up his tour bus for a $75 donation to KPFT. And what you get a pass for a 1.5-hour VIP tour at the historic Herman Park Museum District and the Med Center on Houston's only open-air school bus. This is a really cool thing. $75 donation to take this ride, and I think you're going to really enjoy that.
Oh, that is great, man. And do you have any other offers that we're having, cool little offers for folks at all, or you don't have that in front of you right now?
I don't have them in front of me right now. We do have a lot of them. However, Jack has just handed me a clipboard here that says Anderson Fair has some tickets. Let's see, the Grand People's Benefit, 5 pair of general admission tickets for an $82 pledge. Also, the on June the 2nd, that is, and we've also got 4 pair of front row seats for $153 pledge. Remember, 713-526-5738. Option number 1 to make that donation. Got a night out for 6 at Rockefeller Hall. Proceeds will benefit, of course, KPFT. Let's see what they are. A night for Guy. Reserve seats for KPFT's balcony. VIP table, 3 pairs available, $250 pledge. That's going to be a really nice event. So I would say dial 713-526-5738. Option number 1 to make that donation.
And you know what else is up? You can actually get, this topic had me so engrossed last night that I said I'm coming here. I forgot. You can also get the Politics Done Right t-shirt with the KPFT logo on it. And of course, that is a contribution of $100 or more. And here's the funny thing, folks. You don't have to pay that stuff all at once. You can say do it monthly. And, actually, I would love some of you who have the wherewithal to say, you know what, I'm going to give KPFT $5 a month, or I'm going to buy, it's like saying, I'm going to buy KPFT a cup of coffee a month or something like that. And I know if if we had a sort of like a chat date once a month or something like that, you would have no problem saying, you know what, Egberto, let's go get some coffee and get and I want to sponsor your coffee. I bet you wouldn't mind doing that once a month. Well, I'm asking you, give us a call at 713-526-5738. Hit option number 1 and do whatever you can, either a one-time contribution. For a $40 contribution makes you a voting member of our local station board and the national station board, the national board of the Pacifica Network. That is a contribution of $40, allows you to actually have voting rights at this community radio station, not only locally but nationally as well. If you if you go ahead and give $100, you can go ahead and ask for the Politics Done Right T-shirt. Whenever you're selecting these guys, however, I ask you to remember to tag Politics Done Right, because again, that is how those things would be attributed to the show. Again, I repeat, you can get our T-shirt, a contribution of over $100 a month, or 100 or more a month. I mean, not a month. I'm sorry. A contribution of $100, and you can get that Politics Done Right T-shirt. And you know what? I am unprepared. I didn't have the T-shirt to put on the screen so that you can see what it looks like. I do apologize. Otherwise, my YouTube people could have gotten to see, YouTube and Facebook people could have gotten to see what the T-shirt looks like. I promise to do that by Monday, when we do this on Monday. Like I said.
And Egberto, that is one good-looking T-shirt.
Yes, it is. You saw Tori wears it.
Yeah, I saw it on the man himself, Egberto. Coffee with Egberto, man, that sounds really good.
Yeah,
that T-shirt.
You know what? You just gave me an idea, Howard. You gave me an idea, and I don't want it to sound like a bribe or anything like this, but I honestly mean this. We do anything necessary to legally raise funds for our radio station to make sure we can keep giving you this valid information like we're giving you today. I'm not done yet with the Texas Legislature. But I tell you one, I have to make at least $250 every day for this show, right? I want to thank right this very minute El Señor Ravi. Thank you so kindly for your contribution this morning. I do appreciate your contribution this morning. Thank you so kindly. But I tell you something else. Anybody who gives, like I said, I have to raise this every day. Anybody who gives me, not me, meaning KPFT, $250, I tell you, one big payment to $250. I am going to say this, and I think this is all perfectly within the bounds. Let's go ahead in person and have a cup of coffee and sit down and shoot the what about politics, etc., etc., etc. Let's do something like that. I think that would be okay. That is okay, right, Howard?
Absolutely. What could be wrong with having coffee with Egberto?
That's your idea, Howard. I just took your idea and said, let's instantiate your idea. So anybody who goes ahead and say, I'm taking a day. And you know what? I would like 5 people to do that right now, because guess what? That will take care of a week's worth of what I got to raise for the show, Howard.
Sure will. And I'll tell you what, if you've never met Egberto in person, and I know some of your fans have not met you in person, you will love this guy. He's just the most friendliest person I've ever met. I think you and I, we're divided on politics. That's okay.
Yes.
You say it's okay, but you're just a neat guy. You really are.
Well, what I say all the time, Howard, we have one country. And we all here living together. You know what? When you take most things out, when you take the side things out, most of us want the same thing. So I don't have a problem with people saying, I have a different politics than you do. I still love you, man. That's how we need to be.
You defined it to me one day, and I totally agreed with you. We have to stop the monopolization of our society by the corporations. That's just it. Enforce
Absolutely.
the Sherman Act. You know where that stopped? You know where the regulation stopped under Ronald Reagan?
Yes.
He said, do not enforce these antitrust laws. And now look at what we have.
Yes.
Corporations everywhere owning everything and us too.
Exactly. So, folks, please give us a call at 713-526-5738, extension numero 1 to donate, and extension number two, to come on air. Llámanos a 713-526-5738. Llámanos y mira, esta es tu estación. Vamos, esta es tu estación. Puedes hablar de lo que quiera en esta estación. So please give us a call. 713-526-5738. Again, thank you so kindly, Ravi, for your support. Please, folks, we need a lot more in your support. And remember, $250, I'll go have coffee with you. My word is my bond. Anyhow, folks, and you can talk any kind of politics, or you can come and say, well, Egberto, I completely disagreed with that point. And we'll sit down and we'll talk. And I say, okay, brother, or okay, sister, tell me what your thought. And then who knows, maybe also we'll do a Zoom interview or something, and then we play it on KPFT. Because again, in a community, just like Howard just said, we don't all think alike. We don't all believe the same thing, but there's one thing that we think alike and believe alike, and that is we want to have a good life. And that's what our Constitution guarantees, right? It says for the welfare of all, in the preamble. By the way, I had to learn that becoming a naturalized citizen. I had to learn just about everything there is to know about America. So anyhow, call 713-526-5738, extension number 2 to speak on air, extension number 1. Jack, come on in, my brother.
Okay, he is making his way over to the microphone right now.
All right.
I'm just up and just a sub. Okay. A lot of chairs in the studio, so stand by.
While he gets over there, I want to give Jack some great kudos. Go ahead, Jack.
It seems like me they're beating us with brains and then baffling the public with what.
Yes.
To me, this is more the empire building. Privatize the profits, socialize the cost.
Yes.
Watching these politicians like they're auditioning, and the legislators are auditioning to the oligarchs for a good position for when they flip us officially over to a dictator that we do not elect.
You just nailed it. You just nailed it. Auditioning for the autocrat in waiting. That's how I put it. Auditioning for the autocrat in waiting. You nailed it, Mr. Jack. And while Jack is still on air, I want to specifically thank Jack. Jack drives a hell of a long distance early every morning to get into this control room. Jack, the beliefs that I always have is people must be recognized. Thank you so kindly for doing that, sir. Every morning you're in that studio, manning those phones. Thank you so kindly.
Thank you, Egberto. Maybe we'll have coffee someday.
We will have coffee. In fact, we have in the next week or two, we should be meeting for coffee as we've spoken about, my brother. Thank you so kindly. All right. All right, folks, listen, this is important. This is important. So please call 713-526-5738, extension number 1 to donate, extension number 2 to be on air, or go to kpft.org. We have many things to offer. You can get our the Politics Done Right t-shirt with the KPFT logo for $100 or more. You can go ahead and have coffee with me in person by giving $250 one shot. And that is just a thank you. I'm just me buying you some coffee and saying, hey, thank you, man. Thank you, because you are ensuring that we have public radio, right? So thank you. Or you can just go ahead and give $40 and say, you know what? I am a voting member at the Pacifica National Network or the KPFT's locals board. Let's go ahead and go to 713. It's because we're going to be running out of time. So I want to get it before you even put all the numbers in. Come on in, number 1. Come on in, number 1. Muchísimas gracias. Muchísimas gracias. Okay, as soon as they do it, we'll be okay. There we go. 713, the one ending in 94. Talk. How you doing? You're on air, sir, or ma'am.
That might be me.
It's you.
Please
It's you. Talk to me.
tell us,
How are you doing? What's your name?
Anonymous,
Hi, Anonymous. How are you doing?
would you please repeat or tell us where to get the original source of this frightening information?
Let
that
me
our
tell you.
elections can be overturned.
Okay, you can right now, you can go to the one that I just read was from nbcnews.com/politics. But I'm looking for what I want to do is give you the bill number because I can give you the bill number and you can look it up immediately. Senate Bill, are you ready?
Yes.
SB 1993. SB 1993. And I'm glad, Miss Anonymous, I want to thank you for calling in and asking to corroborate what I'm saying, because you won't hear that many places where they just want you to be a robot. I want you guys to go out there, see what's going on, and then make sure that this stuff can't happen, my dear lady. Thank you for calling, for asking for that. It is SB 1993.
And what we must do is speak, write, telephone, notify people what is being done so that we can respond intelligently to prevent this frightening possibility. Thank you so much for bringing it to our attention on the show.
And let me tell you where you can find all the bills that we are going to be subsequently talking about, ma'am. Legiscan, legiscan.com.
Secretary of State.
Yes.
I'm listening. Repeat.
It's legiscan.com /
LEGIS what?
It's LEGISCAN.com.
Thank you for your help.
Thank you so kindly, ma'am. You have a wonderful day. Let's go to Elaine, number 2. Come on in, Elaine. You are on.
Lon.
Yes, sir, you are.
I have no shame in telling the people that though I have only $900 a month income from Social Security, I still am a monthly supporter of KPFT throughout the year.
Thank you.
I want to say is similar kind of stuff is going on in Florida, where they just added language to the voter registration card stating that it's not proof that the voter is eligible to vote. And Roberto, you could do a whole program on Gretchen Morgensen's book called These Are the Plunderers. But she's talking about something worse than the corporations, and that is private equity firms.
Yes.
Which buy corporations, and they charge them rent. They sell the land out from under them. They drive companies, even doctors, into bankruptcy just so they can make profits off it. So that's something you can work into a show in the future.
I will. And look, anything, and folks who want, Elaine, let me just say, folks who want me to cover items, always send me drop a line at kpft@politicsdoneright.com. kpft@politicsdoneright.com. If you learn about something that you want me to talk about, say, Elaine, please go ahead and send me the name of that book so that I can, intelligently have a program on what you're talking about. So I appreciate that information. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
You have a wonderful day. Now, here's the thing, folks. We're running out of time, so I beg that you call now or that you go ahead and go to kpft.org right now and give whatever contribution you can. Remember, I told you, anybody when I get the reports, anybody who gives $250 or more, we're going for coffee. And, friendly guy here, so we're going to have some good coffee close to the station. 713-526-5738, extension number 1 to give support to Politics Done Right on KPFT. And remember, that isn't support for Egberto. That is support for KPFT under the program Politics Done Right. So please give us a call at 713-526-5738. Again, that is 713-526-5738, extension number 1 to provide a contribution. Alternatively, go to kpft.org, select the first item, and go ahead, please, and provide whatever support you can to the program. It is imperative that we continue to do this. We must continue to be able to give this information. There are other topics of what else going on in the state legislature. I will talk more about this on Monday. And for the anonymous woman who called, thank you for making sure that I stated the particular SB that was the particular bill that we're talking about. Okay, Howard is telling me, Egberto, you need to get the hell out of here because we have Democracy Now! Coming up after you. So therefore, I want to thank all of you for listening, all of you for watching. Don't forget, call 713-526-5738, extension 1 to provide the support to the program, or go to kpft.org. The first option, go ahead, make your selection, select politicsdoneright.com as the show to support. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right, and you know how I end this, baby. I am what? Out. We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number 1, subscribe to our channel. And number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.